Today we're going to be going over the top 15 Rocket League goal explosions that you can get for under 100 credit. Now I will say these are my personal favorites, yours might be different, and if they are, comment down below, but a lot of them have really unique effects that I don't think many of you have noticed before. And considering it's a top 15, they'll get more and more interesting as we get further into the video. So with that being said, leave a like if you find this helpful, it helps me out a ton, and also subscribe for more of these item videos coming up soon. Alright, so hopping on into it here with the first of the 15 goal explosions. This one could honestly be higher on the list, but I wanted to include it to like showcase some of the creative goal explosion themes that I've found. So first of all, we have the orange Quasar 3. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but as you saw, it was that one right there. Now the reason I put this on the list, because it kind of reminds me of the Doctor Strange portal. You know, the one he uses to teleport around? I don't know how it really works. But yeah, it's got that same kind of spark effect with the portal in the center, and honestly I think it's pretty cool. The original Quasar 3 is only purple, I think, so the orange one sets it apart, and you can get it for around 80 to 100 credits. So again, a very good way to start off this video. Next up after that, this one's pretty basic, but I had to include it on here because it's one of my personal favorites. It's just kind of satisfying. The popcorn explosion. It's nothing crazy, but again, we're towards the top of the list, so they'll get more and more interesting as we go along. But the main reason that I like this one is because it's got a really nice sound. You know, the sound of popping popcorn is always pretty nice, but having it in a goal explosion and seeing the popcorn actually pop out is pretty fun. And not only that, you can get it for between 80 to 150 credits. Can definitely find it under 100 if you look enough, so definitely deserves to at least be on the list. Next up after that, we have one that is going back to like the creative painted variants. This one is Gray Kablooey. So if we put it into the goal right there, you can see that it has a interesting effect that kind of reminds me of like black and white television from back in the day, or from like way back when. Sort of similar to the Toon goal explosion, but honestly has a pretty nice effect to it. I believe this one was from the Rocket Pass, but I can't quite remember which one it was. But that means you can get it for like incredibly cheap. It's like 20 to 40 credits. So if you're theming like a gray car or something, this is a great one to add. Sort of similar to the previous one, we have Spatial Rift in black, which is honestly a really underrated explosion. And I kind of looked away from the net there, but like take a look at it right here. It's honestly really solid. The black just covers the entirety of the goal, and it makes this like dark, ominous explosion that I just really like. And again, this is another Rocket Pass one. A lot of these are going to be cheap Rocket Pass painted variants that are overlooked, and this one's a little bit more pricey at 70 to 90 credits. I love how that's pricey in this video, but again, it's a super solid one. Definitely give it a try. This next one is going back to one that was released quite a while ago. It is a black market, and it is Party Time. Yeah, Party Time. The reason I put this one here is because it's really good for annoying the other team. Like the sound that it makes is just kind of funny. All of the cheering and everything like that. And what I'm trying to do in this video is just give you a bunch of different ideas and uses with different goal explosions that you may have forgotten about. And this one was released years ago. And again, it's a pretty intriguing one, and it cannot come painted either, kind of making it cool and unique. But one more time for the party into the net. It is kind of a fun one, you gotta admit. Oh, and the price for this one is around 100 to 200 credits, so a little bit on the high end, but if you get lucky, you can find it for under 100. You may just have to look a little bit longer. Then after that, we've got actually two goal explosions. Well, two painted variants of the same one. And these are from the Rocket Pass last season. The first one here is Purple Cosmosis. As you can see, it is honestly one of the best Cosmosis variants, but you never see it, and it trades for incredibly cheap. The reason I like it is because it matches the background texture that covers the entirety of it. It matches the same color scheme, which is honestly really nice. This one only goes for like 50 to 70 credits too, and considering it was later in the battle pass, not too many people got it unless they played a lot. Similarly, also Lime I think is underrated. It's not quite as like unique how the purple variant blends in with the background, but it is still very cool, and that one can also be found for around 50 to 70 credits, which is honestly really solid. Now I'll try to go through these next ones a little bit quicker. This one is pretty simple. It is the big splash goal explosion. But yeah, this one used to be worth quite a bit. It's went down in price. I think you got it, I want to say from RLCS. I actually don't 100% remember. It was some like limited edition one, but it makes a fun sound. The look of it is really cool. And you can get this one for around 50 to 70 credits now, if what I'm looking at is correct here. Now this next one could have honestly been put higher on the list. It's another super unique painted variant, the Overgrowth in gray. And there you see it right there. The reason I like this is because it has this really interesting vibe to it of like a decaying forest. Check this out. You've got the gray leaves, and then the actual tree itself is more of a darker gray color, giving it some really interesting contrast that I like a lot. And in case you're curious, the black variant has that vibe as well, but it's a little bit more shadowed. The gray has more contrast, as I said earlier, and you can get this one for only 50 to 70 credits, which is honestly really cool. Next up, we have one that is pretty unique. It is Juice. Honestly, I'm not sure what I think about this one. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, so it maybe could have been put like lower on or higher on the list earlier in the video, but I don't see it very often, so that's why I wanted to include it here. And considering you can get it for around 100 credits, it's honestly pretty fun, and summer's right around the corner, so I thought I'd throw it into here. After that, we have got Meta Blast in the orange painted variant. Another old Rocket Pass one, but one that I think is severely underrated. I mean, look at that. It's kind of the smaller variant of Cosmosis, but I've always liked how it inverts the colors, or like darkens the colors that you see within the explosion. And specifically when it's painted orange, it just gives it a nice bit of contrast that honestly would be pretty sick for around Halloween time. But you've also got the orb in the center that's painted orange. Overall, it's honestly really solid. I like this one a lot. Oh yeah, and you can get it for around 30 to 50 credits, which is super cheap. And then getting into the top 5 here, this is one of my personal favorites that I think is also really underrated. It is Toon. That's right. I've always liked Toon, and I know that's kind of a personal preference. A lot of people aren't the biggest fans of it, but I think it's got a cool explosion, and more specifically, the sound is just really fun. I love hearing that like bullet ricochet sound, and honestly, that's probably the main reason I put it up here. It's got to be my favorite one just based on the sound effects. And the painted ones I think are more expensive, but you can get the default from anywhere between 80 and 150 credits. As for the top 4, these are all painted variants with super unique traits. Like this one right here, as you can see, it is Force Razor 2 in the black painted variant, which there's a reason I chose this one specifically. Just take a look at it. With the other variants of the Force Razor 2, the whole gold explosion is the same color, but for some reason with this one, you've got the black effects around it, but the very center is completely bright white. Whereas the titanium white one has the edges white, this one has that really cool contrast, honestly making it a lot cooler than any of those painted versions. And what's better yet is the price of this. Only 70 to 90 credits, definitely making it worth it. Now, number 3 is another overgrowth, but this time painted orange. And the reason I included this is because it's a really cool fall colored explosion. It obviously reminds me of, you know, autumn trees. And you could maybe exchange this one for gray. They kind of go hand in hand, but I wanted to include one of the overgrowth at the top because I think they're super underrated. The sound of it is super good. The look of it is really cool, how it actually grows around the inside of the net. So like when fall comes around, it's the perfect one to break out, and you can get it for only 50 to 70 credits. And then for number 2, we have got Rad Rock in Sky Blue. I know, a pretty interesting choice, but check this one out. The reason I chose this is because it reminds me of ice. The other ones just kind of look a little funky in their different colors, but the Sky Blue has this really cool like gradient from sky blue to gray or almost white, giving it this icy effect that can go with ice themed cars super well. And like the teleporting thing in the center is really nice. These sounds are nice. For its uniqueness, I definitely think it deserves to be at number 2, and you can get it for 50 to 70 credits. And then at number 1, we have got Black Meta Blast. Yeah, another Meta Blast variant, but I mean, look at that one. It's so unique because in the black painted variant, it gives it this really cool effect that blends into its, you know, normal desaturation effect, creating this like ultimate void that sucks all the color into it. I mean, check that out. It's honestly really sick. And the price of it is only 70 to 90 credits. So like all of these ones could honestly be interchanged. It was hard to really rank them, but that is the final one on the list. So yes, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to subscribe for more item videos like this, and also check out some of my previous ones on the screen right now. But with that being said, again, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.